So, The Old Man and the Sea, Part 2. Keep in mind, guys, I'm not going to keep on showing all the pictures as I did in the first video, but the pictures are there in the Quizlet file I've sent you. Okay? I'll tell you when it's a new one, and I'll send a new link in the description when it's a new it's a new group of images, right? But for now, you keep in the same file. I'll send the same link in this description here. Okay. Everything about him was old, except his eyes, and they were the same color as the sea, and were cheerful and undefeated. Undefeated, not defeated. When you are defeated, right, you don't get victory. It's the opposite of winner, right? So his eyes were undefeated. Santiago, the boy said to him as they climbed the bank from where the skiff was hauled up. I could go with you again. We've made some money. Uh, People, keep in mind, I don't know if I've told you before in the last video, but you wouldn't be able, for example, to transport a fridge by picking it up, and just carrying it. You would have to haul the fridge, just as a boat. You wouldn't pick the boat up from the sea. You would haul the boat onto the shore. Uh, so the boy said, I could go with you again. We've made some money. Because remember, he has been working in that other boat, and now he has some money. He can survive even if he goes back fishing with the old man, and even if the bad luck the old man has been having continues. The old man had taught the boy to fish, and the boy loved him. No, the old man said. You are with a lucky boat. Stay with them. But remember how you went 87 days without fish, and then we caught big ones every day for 3 weeks? I remember, the old man said. I know you did not leave me because you doubted. It was Papa made me leave. I'm a boy and I must obey him. I know, the old man said. It is quite normal. He hasn't much faith. No, the old man said. But we have, haven't we? Yes, the boy said. Can I offer you a beer on the terrace and then we'll take the stuff home? Why not? The old man said, between fishermen. I think it's important to realize here the relation the old man and the boy have with the boy's parents. Even though they don't agree with the parents, even though they think the parents are wrong because they don't have faith, there is not even crossing in their minds the idea of disobeying the parents. The boy know he is a boy and he must obey his parents, and the old man knows that. So why am I telling you to teach you that you should obey your parents and be a good person? Maybe I'm here to tell you that. But literarian, talking about the world of literature nowadays, not just literature, about art, for example, movies and etc. Today, it's very prized, this idea of getting your own way, making, revolution, rebelling against oppressions, So this is a very good, no, very common theme in literature nowadays and in movies, of course. You are there in a prison and you break the prison and you set free. This is not the tone in this book, all right? Of course, here we can just see it a little bit, right? But Hemingway's other books would be like that as well. But that's my guess, okay? Let's just continue. They sat on the terrace, and many of the fishermen made fun of the old man, and he was not angry. Others of the older fishermen looked at him and were sad, but they did not show it when they spoke politely about the current and the depths. They had drifted their lines in at in the steady good weather and of what they had seen. Keep in mind that drift, we know drift because of cars, right? When cars drift, they kind of lose control. Of course, nowadays people who do drifting, they don't lose control of their cars, but originally that's the idea, having no control. Imagine a plastic bag drifting in the wind. There is this scene in the movie American Beauty, which is a very nice movie, by the way, where the boy films exactly that. There is a plastic bag, and then the wind starts taking it, and the plastic bag is there drifting, and the boy is just filming it, and he thinks it's one of the most beautiful things he has ever seen. He says that, I don't remember exactly, but he says that there's so much beauty everywhere that sometimes he can't even take it. Well, if you drift your line, you send your line down the water, and the line is there, drifting with the current. Okay. Steady good weather. If the weather is steady, it's not like today sunny and then it's rainy and then it's sunny again and then it's windy, right? It's steady, like when you travel in a steady velocity. It's 60 miles per hour, so it's 6 miles per hour, 60 miles, 60 miles. It's steady. uh, the successful fishermen of the day were already in and had butchered their marlin out and carried them full length across two planks, with two men staggering at the end of each plank, to the fish house where they waited for the ice truck to carry them to the market in Havana. Uh, okay, I think this is one of the most challenging parts of the book, vocabulary wise. Let's go by parts. I'll tell you important words and then we'll read again and try to incorporate those words. Butcher. Butcher is the place you go to when you want to buy meat, okay? But you can butcher a cow. How do you butcher a cow? You kill the cow and you clean it, okay? Actually, many serial killers are, I don't know if many, but it's a nice name for a serial killer. John the Butcher, he would cut you open, get some of your organs, eat some, drink with wine, just like, okay. So that's butcher. Marlin is a kind of fish that becomes very big. It's a swordfish. You have a picture in the list. It's very important that you see a marlin, guys, okay? Because it will be important for our book. Full length. I put in our list a full length mirror. A full length mirror is a mirror that can reflect your whole body. It's not. It just doesn't. It doesn't reflect just your face. Plank. You can have a plank of wood. Okay, that it's basically a piece of wood like this. Okay, that's a plank. Let me see, what else do I have here. Okay, so stagger. Stagger is another nice word. So imagine you have drunk all night and now you're going home. You're not going home like walking, steadily. Okay, remember steady, the vocabulary there. You are staggering, almost falling, right? You can be staggering also because you are carrying something extremely heavy, and that's the image here, okay? You have, let me see if I can get, you would have one plank here, another plank here. You would have the fish, the marlin. Jesus Christ, let's see my artistic talents. I'm going to paint it here so it will be easier for you guys to see. Those are the two planks, okay? You have to imagine a fish, a big swordfish. Not so terrible, right? Okay, but of course, the proportion is not right, okay? But then you would have a man carrying it here and another man here, each man in the end of one plank. And the fish would be so heavy that all of them would be staggering, okay, trying to carry that fish. I don't know if it's possible to say. Use your imagination, guys. Literature is all about imagination, all right? So actually, I can draw perfectly well. I'm just not doing it because I want you to develop your creativity. Okay, so again, that paragraph, guys, and please don't be afraid when you are reading literature and when you are studying difficult texts. Don't be afraid of going back and reading it one more time and again and again. This is how you acquire ability, if you think about how fast you are going, how many pages you are reading, you will always have problems, understanding those harder things. So I will always try to do the opposite. I know you want me to go on. It's like, come on, let's read it. And I'm just, digressing. That's the spirit. Okay, going back to that sentence. The successful fishermen of that day were already in. They had already entered there. They had already butchered their marlin out and carried them full length across two planks, with two men staggering at the end of each plank, to the fish house where they waited for the ice truck to carry them to the market in Havana. Remember, this takes place in Cuba. Okay, but it took place in Cuba before Cuba was, let's say, broke up with the United States. Before Cuba was like an enemy of the United States, there would be very close contact between those two countries. If I'm not wrong, they even called Cuba. One of my students told me they even called Cuba the 51st state. Because Hawaii is the 50th state. It would be the 51st state. Those who had caught sharks had taken them to the shark factory on the other side of the cove, where they were hoisted on a block and tackle, their livers removed, their fins cut off, and their hides skinned out, and their flesh cut into strips for salting. Again, I know it's a lot of work, but that's the way to go. Okay? What is a cove? A cove is a small bay, like Guanabara Bay. A cove is a small one. The ocean comes here, and the cove is here. When you hoist something, imagine you are moving to an apartment and you have a piano. Probably you are not going to take the piano through the stairs, and probably the elevator is going to be too small. So you will have to get something like a block and tackle. All right, we have it here. And you will have to hoist the piano outside your building and bring it through the window. Okay. Remember that fish don't have arms; they have fins, right? And remember that, guys, animals have skin. No, people have skin. Animals have hide. Okay. Now, how can you skin an animal? Like as you would skin a person. How can I skin a person? I just take the skin out of the person. That's a very nice way of torturing a person, right? I take the skin out of the person. And when you kill, for example, let's imagine you kill one of those fluffy, beautiful rabbits, and you want to cook it. So, of course, you're not just going to cut up the rabbit with all that fur. So first you have to skin the rabbit. Apparently you should cut here and here, the skin, and then you will be able to skin it completely. Uh, so hide is the skin of the animal, and the skin is the action. Okay. Keep in mind, guys, that we have an expression in English when we want to threaten a person. We look at the person and we say, "I'll have your hide. I promise." Okay. Um, strip, guys. STRIP, as you can see there, is different from stripe. Okay. Look. This is a strip of paper. Okay. Stripes would be like this. Instead of drawing, I could just have said that we can call the flag of the United States. Some people call it stars and stripes. Okay, stars and stripes. So you can get one strip, but you can't get a stripe. So think to yourself, test your knowledge. Is it possible to buy a striped shirt or a stripped shirt? If you answer the stripped, you have to have a lot of imagination, because I have to imagine that my shirt is all torn up. You know, have lots of strips. If it's just the picture, let's say picture, then it's stripes. Okay, you have the stripes. Okay, again this part. Those who had caught sharks had taken them to the shark factory on the other side of the cove, where they were hoisted on a block and tackle, their livers removed, their fins cut off, and their hides skinned out, and their flesh cut into strips for salting. Okay, flesh, right, guys? Flesh usually we use for people. It's like animals have meat and people have flesh. But you know, there is some crossing. Sometimes we can use flesh to talk about the animal. Mainly when the flesh is not yet to eat. You know, I guess if you were a cannibal, you could talk about animal, human meat. You know, when the wind was in the east, a smell came across the harbor from the shark factory. But today there was only a faint edge. Okay, just a little tip. So just a faint is something almost disappearing. There was only a faint edge of the odor, because the wind had backed into the north and then dropped off, and it was pleasant and sunny on the terrace. Santiago, the boy said. Yes, the old man said. He was holding his glass and thinking of many years ago.